Evening everyone, welcome to my life coaching tools and techniques. Lately, a lot of my clients have been talking about their struggles with being able to say no. So that's the subject for today. Starting back at when we first heard the words no, were when we were younger. We're told, no, don't do this, no, don't do that, get away from this, get away from that. And that's the first time we learn to say no. And as a child, we then start to copy that and say no quite a lot. However, as we start to get older, it becomes more of a struggle for us to say no. And the reason for that is because we turn into people pleasers and we look for approval outside of ourselves. Also, when we're teenagers, because we've heard the word no so many times and you must stay away from this and avoid that, we also become a little bit rebellious. So in our rebellious stage, we have no problem with saying no. It's only as we start to look to others for influence in terms of what we should be doing and what other people are doing that we start to become more and more like those people pleasers. And that's when in turn saying no becomes very difficult. We then start to experience the internal fight with ourselves and turmoil in terms of, I feel like I have to say yes when really deep inside I want to say no, but I don't want to upset that person. I don't want them to think it's because of them. We start to come up with a million excuses, and then in the end, because we feel so bad, just can't help but say yes when really we mean no. Eventually, we get to the point where we're saying yes so often that we're saying no a lot more to ourselves and the things that we actually want to do or that we don't want to do, and we have less time for ourselves and therefore end up less happier. Now, I'm going to tell you that the first no is the hardest no. Once you've got past that first no, it becomes a whole lot easier. So I'm going to tell you guys why it's important that we say no and the benefits of being able to say no. One of the major first reasons is that if we're saying yes all the time but we're giving constantly and we're running on empty, we're not really being able to give as much as what we'd like to be able to, and it's not benefiting you, it's not benefiting anybody else. So we have to learn to understand how to say no in order for us to fulfill ourselves, in turn then being able to give more back to other people. By saying no, we're able to work more on ourselves, okay, and in turn become more happier, and again as a result, because we're then able to give a lot more than we could before, because we're not running on empty, it's helping other people as well. It also helps reducing that inner conflict with yourself, and it also helps reduce unhappiness and feeling the need to people please all the time. One of my favourite reasons is that also as well, when you start saying no to people, it's going to get rid of the people in your life that you don't want around you or that don't care enough about you and just want certain things from you. And that's when it becomes borderline of needing to step away from those type of people, because they don't have your best interest at heart. And actually, if they're constantly taking from you, they're being that energy vampire and they're sucking the life out of you. That is literally what they are doing. And those people are not the people you want around you, and it might be very difficult because it could be somebody really close to you or someone you've spent a lot of time with for a lot of years, but if they're taking constantly, and when you're trying to say no for the benefit of your own mind, soul and spirit, then they're not the kind of person that you would like to have around you or should be having around you. Surround yourself with those positive energies and those positive people. So now I've gone through the whys of how to say no, I'm going to teach you guys a few ways to say no. So the first major one for me is don't keep thinking about your excuses. You don't have to explain to anybody why you don't want to do something or why you can't do it. You just simply have to say no, or alternative ways of saying no are, I'm really sorry, I'm unable to do that. I'm sorry, I'm not up for doing that. I'd love to, but maybe next time. So that's leading on to another point, which is being able to find alternative ways of saying no, because sometimes it's just the word no that people struggle with. So really think about different ways that you guys can practice saying no. Also, practice is a really key point. Practice, practice, practice. Get used to saying no at least once a day and it becomes easier. As I previously mentioned, the first no is always the hardest no. When you're asked to do something, it might be lending somebody money, or it might be, are you coming out on this particular weekend, and it might be with people that you don't feel most comfortable around. Ask yourself, is this something that you want? Is it going to be beneficial for you to go, or are you able to afford to be able to help somebody out in terms of money? Have a look at your current situation. If you don't have the money available, or it's going to leave you guys short, I'm sure that person is going to be understanding. But again, if they're not, then you've got to question, is that the kind of person that you want to have around you in your life? So thinking and asking yourself, is this something you really want? Is it going to make you happy, or is it going to again cause that inner turmoil if you go ahead and say yes? And if so, then you need to be thinking about how you can say no. Finally, ask other people around you. I'm sure you know one or two people who say no all the time. Ask them how they came to do it and what advice and practice they have. It's really good to learn from other people and the kind of things that they do as well, and everybody has a different way of doing it. I myself have got to that point where I say no more than I say yes, and that's because I have practiced. I have no qualms in sharing with you that I was a massive people pleaser back in the day, and I'm quite happy to say that I no longer am, because I am okay with saying no. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you get a lot of practice in saying no, and I hope you find yourselves in being able to do that. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I am on Facebook, Instagram, which I will share afterwards, and I also have a website. Hope you all have a lovely evening. Thank you.